Thanks for tuning in. This is a Divine Masculine reading. This is not a personal reading. Right now, I'm not doing personal readings. I'm just channeling into Twin Flame energy for the Twin Flame Collective and specifically for the Divine Masculine from the energies of the 7-7 portal. It is now 7-8, but as you know, it will still be in the 7-7 portal, being that there is active retrograde energy. Everything, it's kind of like a traffic jam if you really want to think about it. But the question I ask, let me stop. Please like, share, and subscribe. If this video resonates with you, touches a note for you, or you may know someone on the journey or wanting to find out about it, and this may be a video that could help them. Be it divine masculine or divine feminine, the energy can be reversed. And as far as time-wise, though this is a 7-7 read on 7-8, it's a portal read, and so portals are just divine doorways. So a divine doorway can be accessed anytime a divine being is willing to walk through. And so divine masculine, may or may not be at that place. But for me, with the twin flame energy, it speaks of, in this reading, divine masculine, he's working. And it looks like all he cares about is work or, material things. But if you look closer with the twin flame energy, which is not the same as soulmate energy, you can kind of see where the divine feminine is showing up in the divine masculine's reading. And so I don't know what made me stop here, but this is just, this is not a intricate read, so I would just tune in for, if you subscribe and hit the bell whenever I am uploading or putting out new content, it will come to you. And maybe, if your journey is kind of like puzzle pieces being placed together, then you can get clarity on your situation with the knowledge you get from the read. So it's just like little nuggets. But in this read, the question I asked Spirit or the Most High was, what is blocking divine masculine in union at this time? So we have the Eight of Pentacles clarified by the Princess of Wands and the Three of Wands. We had the Princess of Swords, the Six of Swords. We had the Hangman clarified by the Five of Cups, which was also sitting over the head of the King of Wands. We had the Knight of Chalices, pretty much the same as the Knight of Cups, clarified with the Seven of Swords. We then had the Ten of Swords, clarified with the Strength card. After we see the King of Swords, we see here the Ten of Wands. We see then the Star card. And so the energies guided me to the Star card and the Ten of Swords card here first. This card. And so what we get of the Ten of Swords card in this Ten of Swords card, you can see that the tombstone in front of the divine masculine or the feminine who is being depicted here, which is the divine masculine's energy, is the divine masculine is dealing with Five of Swords energy, and he's actually dealing with an inner Five Swords that he is not addressing within himself, and this is lingering over his head. And then he is dealing with an exterior Five of Swords, which could be, as you can see, there's cracks in the ground, so maybe a dried up situation, and this situation is not, there are not vines grown all over the situation. So that means that this could be something that has begun here recently in the divine masculine's situation, separate from his divine feminine. But the internal Five of Swords energy that is, it's like basically saying it's rooted in confusion. It's growing weeds, it's growing twigs, and it's actually something that is not being cleared. And so the divine masculine probably would not, be into the spiritual side of the journey. And so this could actually say that, the divine masculine needs the divine feminine's help, and he is not addressing it that way. We have the crow here, which is depicting that the divine masculine, he saw this day coming, and because he's looking away or looking back, so it's like saying he knew this day would come, and he's been, basically hiding it from himself all this time and trying to ignore the bickering, the internal bickering, the external bickering that is all around him. And it's come to the point where, his situation is dried up. Even his ships, like, how can your ship come in if you're, like, how do you navigate your ship without, this, if you look at this is kind of like what you would use to steer your ship. And this card is being depicted as a grave plot. And so that's kind of the energy that divine masculine is stuck in one place and does not internally know which direction to go when he is confronted by what he has allowed himself, like, to be entertained with. These are, so-called friends, and they are, they're standing outside of enlightenment, in which divine masculine is definitely an enlightened one. Whether he is identifying with his consciousness or not, he truly is enlightened. In the first card that Spirit wants me to acknowledge with this crow, the crow has wings. The wings depict the twins, or the star seeds, or, anything with wings, angelic beings, someone or something that is of a higher ascension than, typical soulmate energy. It's very passionate. And even in this card, where Divine Masculine feels that he is all alone, it is not true, because here you see there are flowers lying on the plot. And so there's a purple ribbon or a twine tied around these flowers, tied around the stems of the flowers. The stems are green. Green is love. Yellow is victory. So that's actually his divine feminine. She's there with him, even though he does not feel that she is there. She's always with him. As a twin, you are always together. And so there's this strength. There's strength that Divine Masculine needs in order to leave a situation that's dead, or a mentality that's no longer serving him. It's not about any third-party situations. It's about Divine Masculine and the battle that he's facing within, and him making the decision to go ahead and leave, or to take a different route than the route he has taken. Because as you can see, this route is in route of a storm. There's already been a storm, or either there's a storm coming. But I would say this is fall. So we have summer, spring, winter, fall. And so it could have been a year now that the Divine Masculine has been, emotionally enveloped. He's been emotionally guided to, look at things differently. With all of these swords, that it's like it's someone or something that he feels will stab him in the back, or has already stabbed him in the back this many times, and this is on his mind quite often. In this situation, as you can see here, there's going to be a little glare. With the Princess of Swords card here, the princess is waiting on, or the princess could be waiting on her ship, so the princess could be preparing to travel. And so it could go either way. If you're going with the direction that Spirit was, Spirit led me to start in. But as we can see in the first card, the Divine Masculine is working really hard. He is planning for something. And whatever this is, it is, it's near and dear to home for him. But in the shadows, in the shadows, he is concerned about traveling to his divine feminine. And so this is what he has planned, but the energy seems immature. As a divine feminine, you may want your divine masculine to, hasten towards you, but in the energy that he is in, he would not be, he would not be prepared to unite with you or to bring quality to your union because he's stuck. Or, like the situation he's been in is a cold situation. It's a dark situation. It's a battle. And he feels stuck. But even in the Princess of Swords card, there's only one sword. There's one wish. And so there's that enlightenment there, and there's the twin flame energy. I cannot remember what this is. I wish I could tell you what this is. I'll have to put it in the comment section because that is a very important part of the reading. But as you can see, even in the Princess of Wands energy, which would also seem like immature in-out energy where someone's not making up their mind about something. That's not what we have here, because as we see, the princess is wearing a white robe. The princess has a feather over her head, and spirit is guiding the princess. And so with this being the card's energy, the cards are saying that the divine feminine is in the divine masculine's thoughts, and it's a spiritual connection, and it's protected. And that's why we have the tiger here in the cards. And also the tiger is orange, and orange depicts passion. So someone being your divine masculine is just as passionate about twin flame union, though he may not call it that. He's very passionate about it just as much as you are. In this Three of Wands energy, you get planning, you get balance, and you get this one cup that's being held. And you could almost say that that's the ancestors that are helping you, or helping divine masculine to protect what he has already began to set into place, which has everything to do with the union with the divine feminine. Under the Eight of Pentacles card, you got this Hangman card, and with the Hangman card is a 7 card, and the 7 card is, for me, a number of completion. And even in this card, you can see the 4 wands of light. With them being yellow, you could say that there's an 11-11 connection that is being resurrected back into the light. And then even here behind the divine masculine, though it appears that his feet are frozen, he has become enlightened, and that the divine feminine is here in the card. The divine feminine is the lily. The lily is precious, like it's precious in God's sight. And so being here in the hangman position, when he comes out of this position, he will be very much conscious, and he will go towards his divine feminine. Because with this 4 wands of light, he's tied to that. And then the wand is tied to the tree, and the tree would represent his home, or where he feels his home is. And as you can see, there are other trees in the background here. So that could be anything: family, jobs. But as well, you can see the trees in the background are falling. This tree was not planted properly, and that is why it is growing, with a slant. So eventually this tree will have to be uprooted, or will actually begin to affect everything around it. It will make everything around it work harder to support it, because that's where trees are. Trees are kind of like a SOS system where they carry a vibration and a tone. And when one tree is in distress, the other trees actually work harder and share what they have with that one tree to keep it healthy and to keep it alive. And so divine masculine is not connected to the tree that is leaning and falling. He's connected to the tree that is standing straight. If you actually look at it, it doesn't even appear that the part of the branch where he's hanging from in this hangman picture on the card has any ice on it, but the rest of the tree does. And so you have this Knight of Cups energy here. With the Seven of Swords over it. And so it's almost to say divine masculine in the hangman position is where he ended up after coming in and out, and being convicted because he's on a white horse. And so, white is like the color of honor. So he was not coming in, in his shadow self. He was not coming in trying to hide things. He was coming in honorably. And this kind of forced him into the hangman position, which then forced enlightenment. And the light is shining directly on the divine feminine energy in the card. And as you can see, the divine feminine being in the light is what drew the divine masculine into the light. And so everything just kind of went in a full circle, and this caused the divine masculine to have to face it. He had to face this Ten of Swords energy. This is not something that, divine masculine and divine feminine would have discussed. This just would have been something, it's kind of like emulation. He's just basically being forced by spirit to lift himself up to the vibration that the divine feminine is carrying. So you, divine feminine, are doing the work, and it is affecting divine masculine, and it is not an easy job. And as you can see, even here in this card, what divine masculine is used to and what he's passionate about, he's in front of it, but behind them both is this flame. And so with this flame being behind whatever this is, because as you can see, it's beautiful, it's passionate. There's the wand here, and then there is the ankh here. So there's passion and there's control, but the flame is behind them. And so divine masculine is once again in a situation where he cannot seem to, overlook the fact that he still has this fire in him. He still has this fire, and the fire is next to the rocks. And so That's a stuck energy. That's something that's not going away. That's the twin flame energy showing up in the strength card with the divine masculine. And so below the hangman card, you come into this king of wands energy, which is powerful because the divine masculine in this hangman energy clarified by the five of cups energy, divine masculine needed this time. He needed this time. And so it's, if you look at it as, once again, like a clock, this would be 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So maybe 6:30 is, like those numbers are very important. 0 is the number of infinite possibility. 6 is the number of balance that we get in the Six of Cups energy. And 30 is actually 3. And so that's divine energy that is surrounding the divine masculine. And once again, you get 6, 5. So 5, the rocks here are by the 5 on the clock. And so that's change. And so that means change is inevitable, is what this reading depicts, is what I'm getting from this. So it's inevitable that your divine masculine comes into this King of Wands energy enlightened, Behind him, he has the poinsettia, which is, to me, like a seasonal flower. It kind of reminds you of, or brings you into the gift of Christmas past. And so, with him also having this wand in his hands and being depicted in what is kind of like a gladiator shoe and a black dog, it's like, even though he's here in all of his divine glory in the King of Wands energy, what gives him life is what has had his back, or what's held his heart and mind, the memories of, Christmas past. So he is willing to fight for that, is what, to me, what the card is saying, what the energy of it all is saying. He's saying that he is kind of in a stubborn energy about it, And so with the King of Wands energy going into the 10 of Wands energy, what I get here with this card is a battle. It's like on the outside, what he's going through is a battle. But it's to, like this house is on a hill, almost to say, when you see a hill, it's kind of synonymous with a cave, that's got, like, there's got to be something there. And so he's on a very hard and windy road to, to keep his twin flame union protected. And so that's what I get out of this, because you have the wreath around the card, and the wreath is like the energy of a giver, a protector, the energy of charity. And so that's kind of like saying that's what he wants to give. And right now, he can only get that, by keeping it as a concealed situation. But in the background with the clouds and with the yellow sky, that's kind of to say that the situation is resurrected. And so this is more or less the past. And so you and your divine masculine may be in union, or divine masculine may have come into union with his higher self and his feminine energy. But the last card we have here is the Star card. And the Star card is definitely depicting twin flame union, because you have 4 lotus here. And so 4 lotus, if you look at them, it's almost to say it's the 4 of Cups card with the Star card. And then you have the feminine in the card. It's like she's collecting, she's collecting the water into her hand. And even though it's murky water, she is completely in her truth. And she is giving this situation, she's giving the situation with divine masculine and herself being the divine feminine. It's a shadow situation, but she's giving it to, the ancestors. So that's once again another full circle. She's giving it to the ancestors and letting them do what must be done to work on divine masculine while she continues to work on herself so that she can remain in her truth. And so the divine masculine may be appearing to come in an immature energy, and that's actually not what he's doing. If this were a soul mate energy read, that may be the case, but it's not. It's twin flame energy. And so with it being twin flame energy, it is saying that the divine masculine needs the divine feminine to continue working on herself so that she can continue in the frequency and the vibration of union, so that he has to come up to her vibration. So divine feminine, you're all over this reading, even though it's the divine masculine's reading. It's saying that your spirituality is glowing. It's saying that the ancestors are carrying it, and that the divine masculine is being forced to come into his enlightenment. Acknowledge this 4 of Wands energy, the 1111 energy, the 4 of Cups energy. Acknowledging, that the past has come back, to be healed. And it is healed. And you just need to stay doing the work, as many people would say. And with you doing the work, everything that you need, you will already have when you come into union. If you are not in union, you will feel balance, completion, and you will feel whole. So that's beautiful. There's love all over this reading. There's movement, even though it initially appeared that the divine masculine was in a stagnant energy. It also is the energy is kind of stating that it's inevitable that he feels a push and an urge to, make the next step. because you are on the front, back. You are all over his mind. You know, I'm going to keep saying it, that divine masculine has love on the brain. As you can see, even with the green crown in this King of Wands, you know, even with shadow energy being right next to him, or this dog depicting that energy of something maybe being hidden. What's being hidden is the divine masculine knows where his ships have come in the past. So thanks for tuning in. This is what I got for the divine masculine read. And for more information, emails, gifts, donations, anything, you know, blissful or constructive towards the channel, I will do my best to place below the video in the comment section.